My name is Diana Foster, and last month I sat across from a Bloomberg reporter explaining how I built a $200 million investment fund from scratch. The same week, my ex-husband filed for bankruptcy. The man who once told me I was too dumb to understand a bank statement now watches me manage more money than he'll see in 10 lifetimes. 8 years ago, I was married to Trevor Foster, a financial analyst at a prestigious investment firm in Manhattan. We lived in a beautiful apartment in the Upper East Side that his salary paid for. I'd been a school teacher before we got married, but Trevor convinced me to quit after the wedding. He said his income was more than enough, that I should focus on our home. Trevor controlled everything. The bank accounts were in his name. The credit cards were his. When I asked about our finances, he'd pat my head like I was a child and say things like, "Don't worry about it, sweetheart." Or, "You wouldn't understand even if I explained it." The breaking point came on a Tuesday afternoon. My grandmother had passed away and left me $43,000. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was mine. The first thing that had ever been truly mine in our marriage. I was sitting at the kitchen table with the inheritance check when Trevor came home from work. "That's great, babe," he said, barely looking up from his phone. "Just sign it over to me and I'll deposit it into our investment account. I'll grow it for you." "I didn't know we had one," I said. He sighed the way you sigh at someone who's asked a stupid question. "Diana, I handle the money because you're too dumb to understand how any of this works. It's not an insult, it's just a fact. You're smart in your own way. But finance? Numbers? That's not your strength." "I want to learn," I said quietly. "Maybe you could teach me." "Diana, no. Do you know how many years I spent studying this? You can't just learn this stuff from a quick conversation. It would be like me trying to teach quantum physics to a golden retriever. The capacity just isn't there." He took the check from my hand, kissed my forehead, and walked away. I sat at that kitchen table for an hour after he left, just thinking about the word capacity. That night, after Trevor fell asleep, I opened my laptop. I Googled how to learn about investing. I found courses, books, podcasts, forums where people discussed strategies. I created accounts Trevor didn't know about using my grandmother's maiden name. I started learning. Have you ever had someone make you feel small, only to discover they were wrong about you? Let me know in the comments. The education was slow at first. I'd sit at the kitchen table with my laptop while Trevor worked late, teaching myself what he said I was too dumb to understand. I watched Yale's free online finance courses. I read The Intelligent Investor 3 times until it made sense. After 3 months, I opened a brokerage account in my name with $5,000 from my inheritance. I started small. Index funds, blue chip stocks, safe, boring investments. I tracked everything in a spreadsheet. I studied why stocks went up or down. Trevor never noticed. He never asked what I did all day. I was furniture in his life. My $5,000 turned into $7,000 in 6 months. I reinvested the profits. I found a small tech company developing AI software for healthcare. The stock was trading at $8. Everything I'd learned told me it was worth at least $20. I bought 200 shares. 6 months later, it hit $34. That one trade turned $3,000 into $10,000. By year 2, my initial $5,000 had grown to $42,000. I'd taught myself technical analysis, learned to read market trends. I started a blog where I shared my investment analysis. Other people started following it. Some of them were professionals who'd been in finance for decades. They took me seriously because my analysis was good. Trevor's career was going well, or so he told me. He got promoted, bought a new car, talked at dinner parties about his brilliant trades. I'd smile and nod while mentally calculating that my portfolio was beating his by a significant margin. Year 3 was when everything shifted. I'd grown my initial $5,000 into $96,000. I found a small regional bank trading below book value. I spent 2 weeks researching. The fundamentals were solid. I bought as many shares as I could at $14 each. 18 months later, a larger bank acquired them at $41 per share. That single investment turned $40,000 into over $100,000. I was managing $175,000 now, all grown from my grandmother's inheritance. Trevor thought I'd given him that money 3 years ago. He had no idea it had quintupled under my management. The divorce happened in year 4. Trevor had been having an affair with someone from his office.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Turn on bell notification to stay updated for more revenge stories.
I filed papers the next day. He was shocked. He'd assumed I'd never leave, that I had nowhere to go and no way to support myself. The divorce was ugly. When we got to discovery and my accounts came to light, Trevor's face in that conference room was something I'll remember forever. "Where did this money come from?" his lawyer asked. "My grandmother's inheritance," I said calmly. "I invested it." Trevor actually laughed. You invested it? Diana, who helped you?" "No one," I taught myself. "That's impossible. You don't know anything about finance." "I didn't," I corrected. Then I learned. The mediator awarded me my accounts since they were entirely in my name and funded by my inheritance. Trevor was furious, but there was nothing he could do. I moved into a small apartment in Brooklyn and kept investing. I started a newsletter where I shared my analysis. Within 6 months, I had 3,000 subscribers. Some asked if I did consulting. I said yes, and discovered I was really good at it. By year 5, I was managing money for 12 clients. I formalized it, registered as an investment advisor, got all the proper licenses. Everything Trevor said I was too dumb to do, I did. My own portfolio hit $500,000. I hired an assistant, then a junior analyst. I moved into a small office in Midtown. Word spread. I had a reputation for finding value where others didn't look. I started getting calls from family offices, from individuals with serious money who wanted someone who actually did the work. Year 6, I launched the Foster Fund. $15 million in initial commitments from investors who'd watched my track record. I hired 3 more analysts. We rented a proper office with a conference room. The fund performed. First-year returns were 23% when the market was up 11%. Second year, we were up 18% when the market was flat. We were consistent, transparent, and we protected capital during downturns. Investors noticed. By year 7, the Foster Fund managed $87 million. We'd attracted institutional money, pension funds, endowments. I was hiring people with decades of experience who reported to me, the woman who'd taught herself investing, at her kitchen table. I saw Trevor once during this time at a charity gala. We made eye contact across the room. He started walking over. I turned and walked away. I had nothing to say to him. I heard his life hadn't gone as planned. The affair ended badly. His career had plateaued. He'd made some aggressive investments that went wrong and lost a significant portion of his savings. The life he'd built on his supposed financial brilliance was crumbling. Meanwhile, the Foster Fund hit $150 million in assets, then $175 million. We expanded into new strategies, hired a risk management team, opened a second office in Boston. The Bloomberg interview came in year 8. They were doing a profile on rising female investors. The reporter asked how I got started. I told her the whole story. The husband who said I was too dumb. The inheritance. The late nights teaching myself. Building a fund that now managed $200 million. The article came out on a Wednesday. By Friday, my phone was ringing constantly. Other women reached out saying they'd lived similar stories. Investors called wanting to get into the fund. Job applications flooded in. Trevor called too. I didn't answer. He sent an email asking if we could talk, if I could give him advice on his investments. I deleted it without responding. Last month, I was invited to speak at a finance conference. The same conference Trevor used to attend every year when we were married, the one he'd go to while I stayed home because it would be boring for you anyway. I gave the keynote, 2,000 people in the audience. I talked about patient capital, about doing real research, about finding value in overlooked places. I talked about how anyone can learn this if they're willing to put in the work. How intelligence isn't fixed. How capacity grows with effort. How being underestimated can be the greatest motivation. A woman approached me after and said her husband handles all their money and tells her she wouldn't understand it. I gave her my card. Start learning anyway, I told her. Not to prove him wrong, to prove yourself right. Trevor filed for bankruptcy 2 weeks ago. Bad investments, overleveraged positions, a lifestyle he couldn't actually afford. The man who said I was too dumb to understand money had mismanaged his own into oblivion. I don't take pleasure in his failure, but I won't pretend there isn't satisfaction in the contrast. He assumed intelligence was fixed, that he had it and I didn't, that the gap between us was permanent. He never considered that I might be smart enough to learn what he knew and disciplined enough to do it better. The foster fund manages $207 million now. I have a team of 14 people. I drive a Tesla I paid cash for. I own my apartment in Brooklyn and a small place upstate. I'm financially secure in a way I never imagined possible 8 years ago. I think about that Tuesday afternoon sometimes. The inheritance check on the kitchen table. Trevor telling me I was too dumb to understand. The certainty in his voice when he said the capacity just wasn't there. He was so sure, so absolutely convinced he was right. He was wrong about my capacity, but he was right about one thing. I couldn't have learned it from a quick conversation with him. I had to learn it myself, properly, completely, and that made all the difference. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to watch more revenge and inspiring stories that will make you excited like this one. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments and let us know what you think about this story.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Turn on bell notification to stay updated for more revenge stories.